So now it's time for the geeks to get up and talk about what we do best, which is build cool stuff. And I think one of the things that we've looked at with this project is my whole team's geeks. We're always on our cell phones, we're always on the computer, and we want to recruit geeks. And I think everybody has a little geekiness in them. I think that using computers and having access to technology is critical. But one of the things that's a barrier is, at this point, people that don't have access to technology or don't have a digital skill set are either afraid of using technology, they don't want to share information online, or there's other reasons why, maybe access reasons why they don't use technology. And we want to make sure that we change that. And so we're really glad to partner with the State Library. We're going to be excited to launch this project in pilot jurisdictions. But without further ado, I will introduce sort of our infrastructure for implementing this project, which is Trail. Using technology is about discovery, it's about exploration. When we started talking about this project, we started geeking out about, historical stuff and discovery and the Renaissance, and, we had probably the dorkiest and wonkiest conversation we've ever had at our firm about this project. And we thought, well, what would be better than to have it be Trail, which is technology, resources, and internet literacy. So we really want to push discovery. It's something that people can relate to. It's something you learned in grammar school. So we thought that it'd be something that people could really grab onto and get excited about. So the issue is, and this is something that we face every day, is there's so much out there vying for your attention. So if you're a child, there's tons of things you can go on the internet and play with and read, but you might get distracted. And then if you're somebody who doesn't know how to use technology, it's overwhelming. So we're dealing with basically an attention economy issue, which is if you know how to use digital technologies, you're getting distracted all the time. I know I'm guilty of that, using Twitter all the time and following it, and just everybody's saying all sorts of different things all day long. And if you don't know how to use technology, you're just overwhelmed. I mean, there's so much out there. If you just opened a browser and went on Google and searched for something, you would probably be overwhelmed. And that's assuming you even know how to search. And so what we really wanted to focus on with Trail and then with our pilot project, which is going to be called Job Scout, is making it a welcoming place. We want to kind of create an environment where people learn how to use technology, and so when they go on the internet, they're not scared. And one thing we notice is sometimes when there are projects that try to teach you how to do something, they don't look like the real world. They don't simulate what you're going to see when you go out into the real world. The internet today is so rapidly changing that we want to make sure it is a very comfortable place for people to go. The vision is basically we want it to be relevant. One of the things that we were talking about in our conversations about this project is there are some people who have probably never used a computer. They might be of an older age demographic, and at this point, why is it relevant? Why am I going to learn now? And in the particular case of Job Scout, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, you have to use the internet today to find a job, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. And it can be overwhelming. We obviously have a lot of issues with our economy right now. There's a lack of jobs, so if you don't even know how to get on the internet and find one, you're already at a disadvantage. And so we want to make sure that we correct that by providing the resources. And we're going to use social gaming. This is something that we fundamentally believe in as a company, is making technology fun. People now use Facebook and spend hours playing Farmville and buying fake crops. I mean, there's so much that goes on the internet that seems a little silly at times, but we really sat back and said, why do people do that? Why do people engage? And it's about networking. It's about using the technology, and it's about sort of feeling like you're accomplishing something. And whether or not buying and selling fake crops is accomplishing something is a conversation for another breakfast. But people really do feel like they're getting something out of that interaction. So we want to make sure we implement a platform that's user-friendly, that allows people to do peer-to-peer training and learning. A lot of why the internet's so great is that you can connect with other people and maybe sort of tag team learning digital literacy skills together. We want to build functionality that, there's a correlation between what you're learning about digital literacy skills and life skills, and I think workforce development is a perfect place. Everyone, in some aspects needs money, so they need a job, so that this works out really well. Launching products modeled after what's out there. We do have, like I said, we're geeks, admittedly. We play a lot of games. So Electronic Arts and Zynga, we think, are two companies that we're meeting with. They're going to help us out and give us some guidance so that people are, if they're a video gamer perhaps, or even if they're not, like people know about games. We want to make sure that we are sort of simulating what's out there. Recognizing the need for data privacy, and this might be because I'm a lawyer, but people are afraid to give information on the internet, and I don't want somebody not wanting to use technology because they think we're collecting too much in the platform that we launch. And lastly, just delivering a positive experience. Someone made a comment a few moments ago about building for consumers. These are consumers, and that's really how we have to view them, is that they're consumers that really need these services and they need access to technology. And so that just needs to be taken into account. And there's going to be different learning styles and different methods for taking in this information. And so we just want to ensure that what we build does have a positive experience. So Job Scout. Everybody needs a toolkit. When you go on a hike, you have to take certain things, your canteen, maybe some sunscreen, some other things. And so when you're looking for a job, you have to have a certain set of skills in your knapsack. And so Job Scout is basically, the goal is going to be to teach people the basic skills they need to find a job. And we're starting at square one. I mean, we really envision people who might just sit down at a computer and be like, so now what do I do? We can't assume people know how to do a search. We can't assume people even know what a browser is. A lot of people don't. And access to technology, especially in California, you do have a great divide. And so we want to make sure this program works for people that might sit down and go, this is a box and I'm sitting in front of it. And then people who are like, look, I know how to use these tools, but I want all the resources to be in one place. We're going to try to accomplish all of that, and we're trying to build a system that learns from the users as they use it, and sort of parallels what's going on in the private sector and what you might find on the internet generally. So we're hoping that we can build something really dynamic here that will not only be sort of trailblazing for the public sector, but also in the private sector in terms of education. So we have a large job-seeking population in the United States and a large job-seeking population in California. And many programs are focusing on job placement, but they're not focusing on the skills you might need to go on the internet to find a job. I know we probably take for granted, Craigslist or Monster.com or the different websites that we can go on to find a job. I can't imagine how scary it is for somebody that opens up a browser if they know how to do that, and they're like, where do I go next? Like, how do I search on Craigslist? Or how would I put my resume online? Or LinkedIn seems like sort of a monstrosity for somebody that doesn't know how to use the internet. So we want to accomplish teaching people how to do these basic things that we all take for granted that are proven to help people find jobs. In today's economy, networking online is critical. I don't care what kind of job you're looking for, you might find someone that has an opening at their company. And so we want to make sure people are equipped to compete in the economy today. And these are the skills you're going to use for other things. I mean, if you just want to consume news, if you want to run a search query or find out about something, a medical condition that you have, these are basic skills that you need to know. And so not only will they be applicable in the workforce sense, they'll also be applicable for other life skills. So the several issues that we looked at when building or starting to build Job Scout, we have an unemployment issue, we have digital literacy as an issue, technology access, which is why working with the libraries is great. There will be free access to what we develop, and it'll also be available wherever else and also on mobile phones. And then broadband access. That is a huge issue in California, and so we wanted to make sure that what we build can sort of be accessible on the slowest network and also on the fastest, and then on the mobile network. There's a lot of people, 93% of Californians have a cell phone, nearly 40% have a smartphone. So we want to make sure we build for the smartphone as well, which is why we're going to make a mobile application for Job Scout as well. We're launching in 2 pilot jurisdictions. We're launching in San Jose for the San Jose Public Library, and then the Los Angeles County Public Library. So we're excited that we're going to be in very diverse jurisdictions. Los Angeles and San Jose cover a host of libraries, I think 100 approximately, and so we'll have a good idea of how the program works in the pilot process. And also Northern and Southern California, there are big differences, and so we wanted to make sure that we took that into account with the pilots that were selected. Job Scout gives Californians access to skills and resources and tools they need to compete in the digital economy. We want to, 1, identify the skills that are in demand. Thank you so much. Forgot to bring that up. Identify the skills that are in demand and help users master these skills. And so we're not just going to assume we know what these skills are. We're going to be engaging in a lot of research before we actually build the platform any further. Second, we want to use game design to teach and reinforce these skills. Gamification works. I mean, it works offline and it works online, and it really reinforces things and it makes things fun. And sometimes if something is very challenging, like learning digital literacy skills, putting a little fun in it isn't going to hurt. And then we want to enable users to network on and offline. I'm someone, in my life, I've learned how valuable networking is, and even in the simplest form, like we're networking every day and we don't even know it. So enabling people to network online is something we want to facilitate. We're going to do skills assessment, and this is, I think, one of the more powerful things about Job Scout, which is we have a variety of users coming onto this platform. And so we tried to develop a spectrum and try to be very technical about it, because that's what we do at first. And then we just sort of scratched that entire thing and said, where do really people fall into digital literacy skill set? Now, there's some people who are just going to sit down and stare at the screen and say, what's next? I don't know what to do. There's some people who kind of know what they're doing, or they're pretending they know what they're doing. Some people are embarrassed that they don't know how to use a computer, or they don't know how to get on the internet, so they kind of pretend they do. So they might be encountering our program. I can do some basic things online, but I wish I knew more. These are some of our favorite people, because at least they admit they don't know and they're willing to learn. I need to practice and refine the skills I already know. And then there's some people that have no problem using any of these skills, but they don't know how to find all the resources. And finding a job today is very difficult. So we want to make sure we have like a resource database as well integrated in the Job Scout program. And Job Scout is going to learn as you use it. So if I'm a user and I get into the program and the lessons seem really elementary to me, you can skip ahead. And then as you use the program over weeks or months or whatever the time frame is, it'll learn, well, you knew this skill set, so maybe you'll know this one. And so it'll sort of learn as you go with you. That way we're not boring people, we're not losing users. Same thing with people that might not know anything. Like they have the opportunity to go back and revisit lessons and revisit games. That way it accommodates as many users as possible, which is something that is very hard to accomplish, especially when we're trying to implement game design. We want to make sure that we do that. We don't want to leave anybody behind. And there's a couple comments made earlier to that effect, and we definitely want to make sure we're accommodating that. And last is measuring success. I'm not going to stand up here and say everyone's going to find a job and everyone's going to be a master of the internet and we're going to create the next Mark Zuckerberg coding in like a month. Like, I'm not going to stand here and make those kind of proclamations. But success comes in various forms. I think one measurement of success is just people having this basic skill set and this toolkit. But some of the things that we discussed as markers of success, you're interacting with others and it's facilitating the job search. You're increasingly accessing the resources on the site, and we're able to track all this, so we'll know if users are getting left behind or they're not accessing the resources in the right way. We'll be able to step in and help, or the system will be able to step in and help. Users finish all of the lessons with the Job Scout program. If we get somebody all the way through Job Scout, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. Users continue to interact with the program once lessons and games are complete. They're coming back, they're uploading a resume. We're going to build part of the application where if somebody enters in application data, it'll auto-fill out applications for them online. That way it makes the job search much easier for them once they have the digital literacy skills. Users turn in a certain number of applications online. If people are turning in 30, 40 applications, we know they've mastered the skills, they're using them again and again. And lastly, users find a job. That's the ultimate goal, is that we have people, we're seeing them go from maybe the point where they're sitting in front of the computer and saying, this is a black box, to I found a job online by myself with the help of this system. And that's very empowering. And I think that's where technology is most empowering, is when people are able to be guided through it, master skills at their own pace, and then be able to show at the end of it, like, wow, this is, now I know why this is important. And now I can use those skills in another place. Users are equipped with a toolkit to move forward in the information economy, which we think is critical. So we're really excited that we're going to be able to build a game platform that will be very conducive to mobile use, as well as an online platform where you can find resources and other things, in addition to playing games and going through lessons. Just to kind of give you a vision of where we hope to go, Job Scout is a pilot project. It'll be launching in December, so it'll be available for, the mobile app will be available for actually anyone, BlackBerry, Android, and iPhone. And then the web platform will be obviously accessible on the World Wide Web and available at the pilot jurisdictions. We'll make sure to have materials to let people know, how to get on the system and sort of where to get started. Phase 2 is expanding availability and awareness. We're going to try to learn from the pilot jurisdictions. One of the things that we are doing right now is implementing a technology survey. There was sort of a lack of data of what kind of technology libraries have. Some libraries are running Windows XP, some have Apples, so it's kind of hard for us to know what people are using. So before we actually build, we're getting all that data back. And so far, we have nearly half of the library jurisdictions in the state that have responded. So we're excited that people, are excited about the project and are letting us know what their technology is so that we can build the best system for them. Phase 3 would be statewide implementation. It would be awesome if you could walk into any library and have basically Job Scout help you find a job and help you learn how to use the internet and give you that digital toolkit. And that's sort of our vision. Or if you're at home, you can use it as well. And last would be to build and launch new platforms addressing other facets of digital citizenship. I mean, finding a job online is just one facet of being a digital citizen. Having digital literacy skills at a basic level is just one facet of it. There's so much else. And I think that we're all probably blessed to have access to computers and know how to use this technology. And so being able to share that with others is a really exciting component of this project. So as I said, we will be launching in December. We hope that you'll come check out the app. And any input is definitely welcome. We're sort of, like I said, we're geeks, and we're trying to learn more about this space as we go. But we just build rad projects, and we're really excited to build this one. So thank you.